Hello and welcome to Mediabeat. I'm Chris Ahrens, editorial director here at Mediabistro.com, and we are here with Chris Licht, the vice president of programming at CBS News, formerly executive producer of Morning Joe, and co-creator, and a few other things over at MSNBC. And he's written a new book, and it's called What I Learned When I Almost Died, because he almost died. So, Chris, the next chapter really of this book is being written already. This new job at CBS. What are you going to be doing as vice president of programming?
That's a great question. I think David Rhodes and Jeff Fager are bringing me in to sort of bring some of the sensibility, some of the risk-taking of Morning Joe, and bring it to all the shows and platforms there. I'm not going to be assigned to one specific show. It'll just be sort of bringing me in the tent and see where it goes from there. The answer is I'll be able to tell you much more once I get into it,
right.
Once I get in the door.
Do you suspect, though, I mean, there's much more of a freewheeling kind of atmosphere on a morning show. Presumably that's where you got 2 hours of programming versus a half an hour
right.
evening newscast. So do you think that's kind of where you're going to start?
That's absolutely going to be the first area of focus.
Okay. Yeah. CBS News has been in third place. Their shows have been for a long time. What made you want to go there and say, this is the next challenge for me?
I think they are undergoing a rebirth, and I think that I know that the two people who are running the division are not there to try old things. They are there to really shake it up, and it's a perfect opportunity for someone like me to come in and really have a chance to put your imprint on something with two people who, between Jeff, who's been there and has run the most successful show in news, and David, who is a fresh, young face. The two of them together are really a formidable team, and it was pretty irresistible to be able to work really closely with them.
Right. And speaking of teams, you and Joe and Mika were quite a team at MSNBC for almost 4 years. Mm-hmm. And there's been some talk that that's what the early show is going to look like, that literally bringing over Joe and Mika to CBS. Do you see that happening? What's the contract situation like that might happen?
You know, I think it's a testament to how close we are that was discussed, that people, there was initial sort of buzz and chatter that I'd be going over to CBS, and well, if he's going, that must mean Joe and Mika are coming. They're in long-term contracts. That's not at all the plan. I don't know of a network that wouldn't want them, though. No. I'll just say that. I think everywhere I went, I talked to just about every network, and there was always when are they out of their deal? When could they come over? I think there's a desire for them, but right now they are on a very successful show for the time being, for the foreseeable future on MSNBC.
So your contract was coming up, and that's when you started entertaining other offers from other networks. Who were some of those other networks?
I think you could name. I talked to just about everybody.
Yeah.
And I must say, I didn't think I was going to leave, obviously, when I started the process. I had every intention of staying on Morning Joe.
And you're an NBC lifer. You've
been
there since
15 years.
KNBC in Los Angeles.
Right.
And nothing opened up at NBC, or you said it's just time for something else?
Yeah, the advantage of NBC News being number one is they're number one. The disadvantage for someone like me is there's not a spot. The role that I'm doing at CBS, they already have a few of those at NBC, so the opportunity wasn't there.
Yeah.
And this was a really unique chance to take another step.
In the book, you talk a lot about your drive, your intensity as a control room producer, as a producer. That is a prerequisite, really. But you had this sort of knot in your stomach throughout, and that was just the self-doubt that you had, that you carried with you. Do you think leaving that kind of atmosphere and that kind of show and that live 3 hours a day and taking this job, which is probably going to be slower paced, more daytime hours, is going to loosen up that knot a little bit? You have that confidence, but some of that self-doubt goes away?
Well, I think the knot got loosened with the brain hemorrhage, because the things that contributed to that knot and that all-consuming feeling went away. And I don't think the drive or the intensity, I know it hasn't changed in the control room, and I know I'll be able to do that in another environment. I think that this was a risk. This is a risky situation in that you're leaving a safe and comfortable place where you're liked, and you're going someplace where it's all new. And that's certainly a risk, but it's also exciting.
Right, but after having been through what you went through, you're probably willing to take a few risks like
Yeah,
that.
you know, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
I almost died. What are you going to do?
And we're going to talk about that in our next segment. We're talking with Chris Licht, Vice President of Programming for CBS News. We're going to talk about what happened on April 28th, 2010. So stay with us. This is Mediabistro.